Hello.
Hi,
Hi, gorgeous girl.
how are you?
Good, how are
I'm
you?
good.
Long time no
I
see.
know.
I cannot believe we're really on our second episode in this room
I know.
and it's already changed. Look, guys, we've got
Look,
arms,
we've leveled up.
we've leveled up. I know, I'm sure all of you will be very happy to know that we have leveled up. So hopefully our sound is
Sounding better?
sounding better. If it's not, we don't want to hear about
Yeah.
it. We don't want to hear about it. Well, oh my gosh, we're on after.
I know, topic 4.
Topic 4 after health and fitness. We've been diving into really getting to know our bodies a little bit better, trying to improve on our habits surrounding health and well-being. And yeah, we've each been trialing different things to level up, just like our mics.
Yeah. I love it.
We've been leveling it up.
Yeah.
So, Els, tell me what's been going on. How have you been? We had our Penny for Your Thoughts episode where you ran us through your AIP diet, and oh my god, those I was going to say leaf cups.
The leaf
The
cups.
leaf cups, the lettuce cups were actually so good.
I really enjoyed them. They have been in my rotation of my 5 recipes that I can eat. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed them.
Did the mints like keep for your lunches?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, yeah.
It was so
Yeah.
good. Honestly, I've been dreaming. Like I've actually been wanting them again. They've been so good. The flavor in them was so good.
Thanks so much.
Obsessed. But yeah, how's all that been going?
It's been going really well.
Yeah.
I have actually really enjoyed it once I got into the thick of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really surprised with, I'm surprised but not surprised with how I'm feeling and my thoughts on the AIP. I'm really impressed by it. I won't go too much detail.
Yes.
We'll unpack, but I'm happy with it.
I'm so
Yeah.
glad. And honestly, you look really good.
Thank you.
I can't praise you enough. I praise you anyway, but you look really good. Like you just look
Yeah.
glowy and you're onto it.
Thanks. How are you?
I'm good. So I've been upping my water intake, which has been a mission. I've been pissing so much, like going to the toilet heaps. But yeah, it is. It's been really good, and of course, like you, I won't go too much into it now, but it's been a new habit to incorporate, and making sure that I have been doing that has been a mission. But it's all right. Very happy with how that's been going. But just again, I'm still feeling really tired and run down. So I'm looking forward to the public holidays coming up, that's for sure. And yeah, I really want time to rest and recuperate.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like a bear, I need to hibernate.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
I've already spent too much of this year with people and I'm like, I'm ready now.
I'm
done. I'm ready to go and hibernate. I know, I'm ready to go. So is there anything else that's been happening in your world that you'd like to share?
Oh, you set me up. It sounds like I've got exciting
Have you
news
got
to share.
news? Have you got news?
No.
No, but how have you feel? So in Penny for Your Thoughts, we were talking about how like you were getting like health life admin kind of in order, and you'd finally found a doctor that listened to you and really just understood where you were coming from. So how, because I know that was quite an emotional process for you. Are you feeling better about that now? Have you had time to kind of sit in it and feel just at peace?
Yes, I've been working through it mainly through sort of journaling and just giving myself the space to process and talk to my family about it, and they've been a really good support mechanism for me, and so too have you, and also like my boss. So it's nice to have people rallying behind you.
Yeah.
I think that's really important, and I want to be as open and transparent on the journey. So I'm still waiting on results to get officially diagnosed with a few bits and pieces.
Yeah.
One of which being PCOS, which I'm being tested for. So I think that was the one that I was finding. I always had a fear that I had something like that. Like it was either PCOS or endometriosis. And when the doctor said, oh, do you know, I'm going to test you for it, it was the first time where I actually had a doctor validate my symptoms and how I was feeling, more than just, oh, it's just women's problems is what I was getting, ironically, from other female doctors. But I'm waiting on whether or not I get diagnosed. But the AIP diet, which is what I've been trialing, has sort of been my way of taking matters into my own hands and trying to relieve some of my symptoms and see if that diet, which I really do believe has a big part in women's health, especially, can I sort of get a bit of a head start on this whilst I wait for, the medical procedures and the tests to sort of catch up with with me. So yeah, it's been a while, but it's taken me a while to process, and I think it's a bit of an ongoing thing. And it may get better or get worse depending on what the results say. But there's so much out there in terms of resources and support that I feel whatever the diagnosis may be, I think I'll be okay. And we sort of just take it day by day.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm glad that, that process has gotten started for you and you do have those supports around you.
I appreciate that. But I think out of all of it, it's really shown the importance to just trust your gut and to really just find a doctor that listens to you. And it's one of those things where I feel very intimidated when I go into to see a doctor or go to a hospital. So it's really giving yourself that, I don't know, that confidence to say no, voice your concerns, and really ask your questions and get answers that you feel are satisfactory.
It's your money, it's your time,
Yeah.
and very layman's terms, but they're offering you a service. Like you're going there with an issue, and they need to listen to all aspects of that. So I'm really glad that you did that.
Yeah, thank you. And I think going in, I joked about it, but going in with my notebook of questions, but I think also in that moment it helps sort of tick things off and work through it, and also they can see you're working through something. So it's not just you going in with questions, and sometimes you get flustered and you go, oh, wait a second, and despite whatever the answers are, you could always go back to your notes going, okay, actually no, let's circle back to that. We need to unpack that more. So it's been a big learning journey the past couple of weeks, but I'm glad it's going in the right direction now.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess that's why this topic itself was so relevant for us.
It came at a really good time.
That's good. So as far as we try to pick topics where they're relevant for what's going on around, I guess, the world and on social, so we can try out those tips, tricks and trends to make sure people aren't wasting their time on things that just don't work. And we're already receiving such wonderful feedback from people, and they're sending in their questions, which is amazing. So what was it about this topic? What was the issue for you?
For me, it was mainly around having all these ailments, in the sense of I just felt generally off in my body, and I had been for so long. And I always sort of promised myself, once I finish this crazy period at work, I'll then take the time to sort that out. And it got to the point where my body couldn't wait until that time came. And let's face it never really does in life. So I just sort of shut down. We were sort of maybe in the peak, and I could see and feel that I just wasn't good, and my mental health was really taking a hit as well. So I really wanted to be able to actively try something and see if it worked. And I've been following this person on socials called Sophie Richards, who documents her endometriosis diagnosis and her going on this AIP diet to try, similar to me, try and get a hold on her symptoms and try and reverse them in some ways, and to see if whether or not diet could have a positive impact. And I've been following her along for ages and could see the results and how fantastic she looked and felt. And I thought, wow, if I can't do that now at my lowest, then I've only got myself to blame. When you're sort of in that rut and in that hole, I've got to dig myself out of it. And for me, the AIP was the way to go, because I could feel a lot of my symptoms was around that, women's health and period and my ovaries and just feeling so I thought AIP would be the way to go for me.
Wow.
So yeah, that's where I sort of came from. And yeah,
that's good. And like and I guess obviously going on this journey with you, I was really proud to know that you were taking time out for yourself to explore these options. You know, you're very good at putting on that front of, no, I'm good, you know, engines on, guns are blazing.
Yeah.
I'm here, I'm going to do it. So it's important that you look after you, and I'm really glad that you were doing that. I think, you know, with the topic like health and fitness, there's so many categories that fall into it, and one especially that we haven't really dove too far into because we know that it's coming up shortly, but one of which being body image.
Yes.
And how we view ourselves, and how others view us and those perceptions. You know, have you ever experienced any challenges when it comes to your own body image?
1,000%, and I still do. Yeah, weight being one of them. It's really interesting, the beliefs that we have. Oh, it sounds bad, but there are sort of beliefs that I know are wrong, and it's funny, if someone was to say them or believe them, like for example, if I had a daughter, and I think about this all the time, or if I had maybe my younger self, you know, 5-year-old Ella sitting in the chair opposite me, and she said that some of the things that I think or believe, I would be so gutted and would be like, oh, don't be silly, like, you know, we're all beautiful, and I know that to my core, but I can't help but question where do some of these beliefs come into, you know, into play. And weight being one of them. I used to be teased a lot when I was younger. I was always the big boned kid, and that in many ways became my identity when I was younger. And that got worse when I was on chemotherapy, being on steroids, and like I was, you know, very, you know, overweight, and then that led into a bit more of a, maybe I suppose, an eating disorder in my teens, when I ate nothing but cottage cheese and cucumber slices and would just not leave the treadmill. And I was very unhealthy, but that was, you know, what I thought. I had to, you know, look a certain way. And then, you know, I also had a boyfriend during those formative years, I was around, you know, 16, 17, who would make weird comments on like, oh, your feet are weird, or like, oh, your hands are really like manly compared to mine. Now looking back, you're like, mate, just grow up. You're a boy, you know what I mean? Like, it was probably more your insecurities.
Stinky boy.
Mine. But it's funny how those things stay with you. Like I remember he thought my thumbs were weird, and like, you know, they're quirky, but they're fine, they do the job. And I would always walk around with my thumbs in my wrapped around my, my fingers wrapped around my thumbs,
ready to punch someone.
Or I wouldn't, like I remember doing a student film in uni, so well, you know, a couple of years after being traumatized, and I was a waitress, and I had to put down these meals, but I didn't want my thumbs to be on screen, so I did this weird,
honey, no,
with my hands, and the plates went everywhere, and you know, it's funny how those things, like those stupid little beliefs that I think are stupid, but still are in the back of my mind going, oh, you know, your thumbs.
Oh my gosh, it's and it really does, it becomes a concrete core thought that just stays with you, and one that stays with me now as well. And it's so I was always a really tall kid. I got to my height that I am now probably when I was 5 or 6. So I don't know what age that is, but I was in year 5 or 6, and I remember I was this tall, and kids, you know, it was, I'm gonna get emotional. it was kids calling me things like Bigfoot
Mm.
and Gigantor, and I took that as being overweight.
Okay.
Tall,
Yeah.
yes, but just big. I
Big,
just
yeah.
felt big compared to everyone else, and especially with the boys developing later, it was very much like I am just huge compared to everyone, and I felt really alone in that. And so I would always like, and it's still a issue for me now, but I would hunch like to make myself smaller. And then I developed like neck and shoulder problems because I was hunching and my neck still sits really like far forward. Just so I didn't seem as tall as what I was. And then when I got to high school, and I look back on it now, and I don't like to use the word regret, but there's things that I didn't do or I stopped because of that. Like I was quite sporty and I had an injury related to me growing so fast, and so I had to stop a lot of my calisthenics and stuff. That stopped, and I was scared that I would get hurt again, so I took myself out of a lot of those sporting things. So that piece of that identity left me. And then like I was in rock bands and I would sing choirs, and like I was quite musical, and I was in another band with these two guys, and they still didn't have that growth spurt. So it was like me, this gigantic girl with these two, and they're still quite small boned, like they're petite guys, but they were quite a bit smaller than me. And being up on stage, similar to like you in theatre, being up on stage and having everyone look at me, I took it as they're looking at me because I look funny, I look out of sorts here, whereas obviously they're looking at me because I'm performing for them. And I ended up like taking myself out of, like I broke up the band, I took myself out of those extracurricular things, because I felt embarrassed of how I looked, and there was nothing I can do to help it. And I know that we make memes about how like when I was high school fat, and you do, like when you're in high school you feel like you're huge, and then you look back and you're like, holy shit, I looked great, what, should have enjoyed that more, rip out the bikini, like woohoo, go to a topless beach, you know. Maybe not when you're in no don't do that but yeah, you just really, you take it for granted,
you really do. And I don't know if it was funny, I've been having this thought recently about, you know, if I was to have a daughter, how would I go? And it gives me a massive anxiety, being the fact that we know what it's like growing up as, you know, a girl, and how hard it is, the bitching, the you know, the pressure of looking a certain way and being a certain way. And I can only imagine how much worse that is in today's, you know,
with
day
socials
and age, with social media, with, you know, trends, and just the way we are. Oh my god, I've started something. Go on.
I am livid with TikTok right now. And yes, it's a platform that we all use.
Yeah.
I am so angry at TikTok right now. Have you seen, I can't even get the words out.
Yeah, go on.
The this is me chubby and this is me thin filters.
Yes,
what the fuck? I'm sorry. What the fuck?
I'm really surprised by how popular that became.
And
it's quite scary.
It's so scary. And as well, like I'm looking at girls who look like us, and then this is what I'd look like skinny. It's like, no, TikTok doesn't take into account like family history, like genetics, height, like actually being maybe a bit big boned, you know, like it's just, there's nothing wrong with that. And I hate that there's someone somewhere profiting off creating this filter. And there are kids on these platforms these days, and they do see this, and it's going to be like, how many people do you reckon has done that, and someone's gotten like their hands on it, and they've screenshotted it and they're sending it around, and they're making fun of people being like, look at her fat, or like, oh, there's this fat girl and look at her skinny, she looks so hot, like da 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 da.
Yeah.
It made me, I was mortified when I saw that come out. Did I do it? Yeah, of course I did. But did I do it? Yes.
It's research.
It's research. I got to test it. But I was just absolutely ashamed at society.
Yeah.
Because when I was in high school, I don't know if you had this, but it was like Perth's prettiest Facebook pages. Did you have any of that?
No.
And all I wanted was to get on that face. It was just some random person from like a random school somewhere who would create a Facebook page. I think there's one still up. And all you'd want is for them to pick you, and they would post a picture of you without your consent, and you would be on the Perth's prettiest page. And I did get on there.
Oh,
and
congratulations.
I know, thank you so much. I hated the photo that they chose, but thank you. But again, looking back at it as an adult, you're like, this is
wrong,
fucked.
Yeah. I've also been seeing same trend, the whole discourse around these skinny girls doing the chubby filter, going, oh, I just want to know, just like, this is my motivation to never get fat. And this idea that ugliness is attached to body weight, and the heavier you are, the uglier you are, is something that makes me really upset, especially always being the chubby girl. And that's probably one of the unhealthy beliefs that I do have, is around, is, I know it's so incorrect, but the fact, like, everyone's on Ozempic, right, in Hollywood, and not everyone, sorry, broad statement, but having said that, I'm looking at these before and afters going, oh shit, she does look really pretty, wow, now she looks insanely good, but she looks identical, just the weight is the only difference.
Yeah.
And there was a really interesting article when, I think her name is Remy Wolf. Have you seen the influencer? Beautiful human being, absolutely stunning. I followed her for ages, and I read an article recently that I think she was on Chloe's, maybe she's got a podcast or something, and she was talking about, it was the first time in where she's lost an incredible amount of weight, and it was the first time where she's addressed it openly.
Wow.
And it's interesting that she's getting a lot of hate right now from her followers saying, I followed you because you were relatable. And she goes, why is me being larger relatable, and why am I now all of a sudden, now that I've lost weight, no longer relatable? And I can sort of see this both sides, in the sense of, I followed her initially, maybe relatable is the wrong word, but she was
it was real. Someone, she felt real. It was someone in that public
that
spotlight
that challenged the cookie cutter of influencers. And I saw, and I'm sure there was many followers who saw a bit of themselves in her, and were feeling refreshed to finally see someone who just looked real. And she still looks incredible now, and she still looks real, and like her content's still very her, and that hasn't changed. But it's interesting that viewers and followers have sort of connotated her realness to her weight, not to her content and what who she is as
the message that she's putting across.
So I think it's such a complex thing, and I think a lot of us have obviously been touched by it in some way, or affected or impacted. But I can only imagine how, I think this trend is an indication of how that issue has just gotten worse in today's day and age, and that judgment. The
newest one, have you seen Margot Robbie? She's like 1 or 2 months postpartum.
Yeah.
She's just had a baby, and she's filming a movie. No one's applauding her for getting back into work. No, she looks a bit chubbier than normal in a dress on a film set that she's working on full time after having a kid, her first kid.
It's disgusting.
And it's Margot Robbie. And I'm looking at this photo, and honestly,
I bet she looks beautiful.
She looks stunning. Absolutely. I would kill to look like that. probably not the right thing to say, but I would love to look like Margot Robbie. And just because her last bigger movie was Barbie and she embodied Barbie, and now she just looks a little bit more meat on her bones than what she usually does. No, people aren't applauding her for her work ethic, or, oh my God, I don't know how she does it, to, oh, she doesn't look skinny right away.
Fat.
Yeah.
It's
like,
it's just a joke, and I don't know if we'll ever get there
never
as a species, but I have made a conscious effort of, maybe a couple of years ago, I did a massive cull on my social media, and I unfollowed any account or any influencer that made me feel shit. And maybe maybe I wasn't subconsciously aware of it, but there'd be times where I remember like going through my socials, and then I'd finish and go, I feel really crappy about myself. And it was because I was looking at these influencers in their, Gucci and their Fendi, going to, Fashion Week or whatever, and being absolute stick. And then I found myself subconsciously getting down on myself. And so I just culled anyone who like that. Good, and I started following people who were just real. And Remy was one of them. And I still follow Remy. Just, yes, you can lose weight, but she's still a real human being, and I just really resonate with her content regardless of how she looks. So social media is just such it's a blessing and a curse, really, isn't it?
It is. And I'm thankful for those who do use it as a platform to be authentic and to be real. And and that's why a lot of look, some people might even watch our content and be like, oh, well, they're sharing an awful lot. Like even when we were doing like the We Listen and We Don't Judge trend, I had some people kind of coming up to me and making some comments about like, oh, my mum feels like she knows a lot about you now. And it's like, well, good. She's just proven our point. We need to be talking about these things to educate people on, not everyone is how they seem on social media. A lot of people are curated. It's not authentic, and we all need to be kind and relatable to each other. And the sooner that I think we all realize that, the better. But, it's a topic for later, but I'm worried about, kids and future generations. And I really hope that they'll go backwards and, soon all this stuff won't be cool. And, playing in dirt and throwing sticks and making teepees and, playing Spotlight, that's going to be cool again. Like Nokia's bringing out brick phones again. So happy. But I look forward to that day. But we'll dive into that more in later topics. But this one, what we were trialing was very much making ourselves feel healthy and looking after ourselves on the inside, so then we can move on and start improving, not even improving, but just seeing that what we're doing on the outside is what works best for us, which I'm really excited about. So you mentioned that you were doing the AIP diet, and obviously that meant that there was some foods that were a lot of foods that were restricted, and that some of the recipes that you've been trying have been actually working out quite well, and that you're feeling better. How's, in the before episode, we were talking about our sleep and our energy levels. Have you found that your sleep has improved since trying the AIP diet?
Yes, in the sense that my bloating has really improved. And I feel my energy's really improved as well. And so with that knock-on effect, it's improved my sleep, where I'm not feeling crappy before I go to bed. I'm maybe feeling a little bit hungry, or but I'm feeling good in myself. I feel a little bit lighter, metaphorically speaking. And I feel like my sleeps haven't been impacted by the food that I've been having. Like, for example, sometimes you have a bit of chocolate before you get to bed, or you have that glass of wine or whatever, and then you go to bed and you go, oh God, I feel gross. So I've really, gotten rid of all of that.
Like cleansing?
Yeah. And, but I suppose after week one, that was really hard to get to grips with what I can and can't eat, and realizing it's not much. I think the issue is you don't have the variety there, where other diets or just a looser program would allow. So you just got to get really comfortable with eating meat and veg for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
And but over time, once I got over that, week and a half mark, I noticed my energies were better, and I didn't have that mental fog that I was feeling, and I felt that my skin was improving, and I just felt happier, which was ironic. But yeah, I felt just well in myself.
I'm glad.
Which was nice. And I haven't really focused on my weight, like what the number, whether or not I've lost weight. But I'm feeling good.
Good. I'm glad. And I know that we had the chat, it was like a few weeks ago now as well, but like something that my mum taught me when we were growing up, like we really didn't have scales in the house growing up, not easily accessible at least. Sorry, audio. Still recording. Touch wood. That's just good. So growing up, like we didn't have scales in the house, not accessible anyway, because mum, I guess our whole family, it was very much as long as you're happy and healthy, that's the main thing. But what mum taught me was especially, and I had to keep reminding myself of this as I was getting older, because like when I was in uni, that's when I started to gain weight. Like I was probably at my heaviest at uni. And then when I started the process of losing weight, it was make sure you take your measurements, don't go off the scale, because when you start getting your fitness up, that fat turns into muscle, and muscle weighs more than fat. So that's something that I really struggled to come to terms with, because it's like, oh my God, the scales aren't changing, like this isn't working. Like I felt good in myself until I got onto this scale and it told me that I'm actually heavier, like what's going on, I'm retaining water, like. But then when you take your measurements, you're like, oh, I'm actually, my arms are a little bit smaller, or it just goes back to that perception and that mindset of it all. So I'm glad that you're feeling good in yourself. And that was the same with me. Like I was trialing drinking more water because I wasn't happy with, mine was more the cosmetic, like yours was to feel good in yourself, but mine was, oh my God, my skin is so dry, I'm flaky. Like I just felt that I looked tired. I felt tired, but I just looked tired. And so I wanted to improve my water intake so I could improve on my skin health. And because your skin is an organ as well, it's, you need to take care of it. I've had like kidney issues in the past because I haven't been drinking a lot of clean water. So I went from drinking like 1 or 2 glasses a day to a liter a day. And like the improvement that I felt, even though I knew that to my core I was exhausted, I was so tired, I still felt like I had life in me. It did take a while to get used to. I needed the cue of carrying around my drink bottle and just having it everywhere that I went. And I was peeing a lot because my body just wasn't used to it at all. But from there, it was helpful. And, I have been seeing changes. Like I was taking that selfie a day just to see the improvement in my skin. And to be honest, I did feel really quite down last week about it all, because very similar to, that weight scale, that I just mentioned, it was Shark Week. I had my period and my skin just exploded like it usually does. I got hormonal acne along my jaw, and my mindset was, oh, I've been drinking like so much water and it was so good, and now it's gone to shit again. But I really just had to remind myself of, no, it's not linear. Like things go up and down like they do in life, and you just need to deal with it. So I'm still drinking heaps of water, and it's turned into more of a second nature thing now, and it's not a chore. It's not something I have to actively think about. And I found that I wasn't as hungry either, because they say like sometimes when you're hungry you're really just thirsty. So I feel like I never really snacked, but more of those larger meals are no longer needed because I'm having that water intake that I need. So yeah, it's been going quite well.
Oh, good. How, I was going to ask you, I remember when we were talking about habits and habit stacking, and there are things like trying to do like the baseline was difficult.
Yeah.
And so I'm just really interested in how you implemented your drinking water to make it a you go to thing.
I love the specification of water. Like your go-to drinking
Water.
not wine, Emma, water. Water. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Like I did, like it's definitely been a learning curve because I was seeing improvements. I was taking a selfie a day in the same spot, same time of day, just to see that improvement so I could tangibly see what was going on. And I did really have to check myself because last week I was on Shark Week. It was, had my period and I was really struggling because my skin did get really bad. And I thought that I felt that I had failed in a way because I was thinking, well, I've been doing all of this and it still hasn't helped, and of course when you're still feeling like really down and emotional anyway, it doesn't help that mindset. But I guess reflecting, I have been really pleased with that difference, and I haven't been as hungry as well because sometimes they say, you're not hungry, you're just thirsty.
Yeah.
So I've been really pleased with that improvement because all I've ever really wanted to be as well, and I guess like when I was younger, we talk about body image and feeling a bit out of step. Since being older and looking at social media, I've been really wanting to be one of those clean girls with the glass skin and just always being active, and they just seem like they've got their life together, they seem healthy and happy. That's what I'm wanting to get to, and I just want glass skin. So hopefully if I drink enough water I'll get there. But yeah, so far it's been really good.
Oh, good. I'm glad. And how did you go about with implementing the new habit?
It was difficult in some ways. Like I found like I did need to cue myself, like always have water with me, or just around, because I needed to make sure that I had that visual cue of, okay, there's water there, I need to drink it. Every time I got up or I was in the kitchen to get a snack or something, I would have water. I would have a big glass of water. Anytime I was cooking dinner, as soon as I got up in the morning, as soon as I was leaving for work, before I went to bed, just any chance I got, I just literally sculled a glass of water. The only challenge that I've had with implementing that has been at work, because it's hard for me. I don't like carrying around a big drink bottle, and because I do run around quite a bit, there's not a lot of opportunities for me to have water if I'm not carrying around a drink bottle. So maybe getting one for my desk, so I'm not just relying on coffees and tea. But either way, I've been happy with that progress so far.
Yeah, good job, Em. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. So with that, it comes to our FMK, which is Fad, Mistake, Keep.
I was going to say Fad, Marry,
Kill. So what's your go?
Okay.
Sorry. So what are you deciding for this one?
I'm definitely keeping this one. So look, the pros far outweigh the cons. I haven't pissed my bed yet. I haven't, I do pee a lot, but I think that's just a normal person's pee now. But yeah, I'm definitely keeping this one. Water is so important, and just feeling I'm still tired most of the time, but I'm still got that source of energy in me. I'm feeling that difference. So yeah, the pros far outweigh the cons. So I'm definitely keeping water, that's for sure.
Good job.
Thank you. What about you? What are you feeling?
For me, I'm going to say keep.
Yep.
Because of all the positive changes I've felt. However, I'm going to start reintroducing slowly, back, just it's a short-term lifestyle change in order to then understand what triggers your body, like what makes it feel crappy, what makes it feel good, and also just it's helped me be more conscious of what I put into my body. So I want to keep that going, and those good routines, the meal prepping, and just being conscious of that. So yeah, it's keep. We'll make a few little minor adjustments just so it can be sort of integrated just more on a long-term
Yeah.
scale. But I'm very happy with it. And it's sort of proven to me, you know, my hypothesis that diet plays a massive part in how we feel and in women's health particularly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad I gave this one a go.
Oh, yay! Yay, go us. Oh, well, I'm so excited. What have we got coming up, Els?
So next week we're doing a B&A bonus topic,
Ooh.
which is focusing on our viewer questions and dilemmas.
I am so excited.
We're true.
I'm so excited. I'm ready. We get so many amazing questions through every single week.
Mhm.
So I can't wait to see what this topic brings, and we'll cover all of them. So we haven't gotten to your question so far.
We definitely will.
Everything
will be covered, and yeah, keep them coming as well.
Yeah.
I think that this is my favorite part of what we do. It's interacting with our listeners and those who are following along, and we're all on this journey together.
Yeah.
So it's our way of all, you know, it's like you guys are on the podcast with us.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, you are. Oh, I can't wait. Thank you so much, Els. I love
Thank
you always.
So remember, just submit and comment your questions for us and we will answer them. But until next time, we will see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye, lovely people.
Bye.